Dennis, we leven in turbulente tijden en dan is het goed om af en toe even een stapje terug te doen. Dat gaan wij zo meteen ook doen. Maar eerst even een historische vraag aan jou. Weet jij waar de laatste burgeroorlog in Europa was?
Nee, ik was niet zo op de hoogte bij de geschiedenisles.
En weet je ongeveer wanneer die was? Heb jij een idee?
Nou, als je hem zo stelt, de vraag, dan denk ik de burgeroorlog, als ik dan even kijk, dan denk ik aan het Britse Koninkrijk. En dan heb ik zoiets in Noord-Ierland, misschien met de Troubles.
Ja, dat is inderdaad de laatste wat klassificeerde als burgeroorlog in Europa. En daarom heb je er waarschijnlijk bij geschiedenis ook nooit van gehoord, omdat het in onze tijd gewoon nog speelde. Tot 1998 was er feitelijk sprake van een burgeroorlog gewoon vlakbij huis op het Noord-Ierse land.
Ja, vooral in Belfast, maar gewoon Noord-Ierland. Belfast staat het meest bekend erom, maar het was natuurlijk in heel Noord-Ierland.
Ja, Belfast, Derry en omstreken. En ik dacht, met een klein beetje historisch besef is het goed om aan deze uitzending te beginnen. Want wij gaan het vandaag hebben over whisky uit Belfast.
Whisky uit Belfast, ja, en dan gaan er mensen die al eerder geluisterd hebben en denken, oh, een lampje branden. Daar hebben jullie het al eerder over gehad. Ja, dat klopt. We hebben het er wel eens eerder over gehad. Maar we gaan even een stapje verder, want er is nog meer whisky uit Belfast.
Ik zeg, laten we maar gauw beginnen.
Dit is Drop or Dram, de podcast voor whiskyliefhebbers. Van beginner tot kenner. Schenk je favoriete glas in en geniet met ons mee.
Ja, Belfast dus, Dennis, de stad die wij inmiddels ook allebei bezocht hebben. Laatst nog vlak na elkaar. Ik geloof dat ik op vrijdag kwam, op zondag ging en dat jij op maandag zo ongeveer daar de stad binnenliep.
Dat klopt inderdaad. Jij was zondagavond om 6 uur had jij de vlucht terug en ik stond om 8 uur 's ochtends de volgende ochtend op Belfast.
Ja, en mijn zoon ons maar allebei een beetje ontvangen en de weg door de pubs wijzen, omdat hij daar toen toevallig een paar dagen zat.
Het is een geweldige stad. Ik kom er graag. Mensen weten onze voorliefde voor Iers, denk ik inmiddels wel.
Ja, kan je niet omheen.
Ja, daar kunnen we niet omheen, maar dan denkt iedereen, Ierland, ik moet nog een keertje naar Dublin. Jongens, vergeet ook Belfast niet. Het is echt een fantastische stad met zoveel historie. En ik denk dat dat ook wel heel erg leuk is om daar te zoeken.
Precies. Maar voor toeristisch gezien is er wat minder te doen dan in Dublin. Hè? Dus Dublin zeker niet overslaan. Maar ik vond Belfast misschien nog wel indringender en ook wat meer cozy, wat gezelliger, weet je. Het is heel makkelijk om daar een onderdeel van uit te maken, waar je in Dublin veel meer nog te gast bent.
Ja, en Belfast is natuurlijk wel heel bekend met eigenlijk echt een industriestad geweest. En het is het eigenlijk nog steeds. En al die sporen, die kan je daar nog steeds vinden. De arbeiders van Belfast, the people who built the city, staat er trots op sommige plekken. Ja. En ik denk dat het een stad is met zoveel historie. We hebben het al even in de intro gedaan. De Troubles is natuurlijk wel even een dingetje. En daar ontkom je niet aan. Het is ook goed om daar even bij stil te staan. Maar er is ook zoveel verbondenheid. Er is zoveel, eigenlijk rauwe industrie. Maar aan de andere kant ook daardoor weer zoveel nieuwe cultuur. En dat vond ik zo indrukwekkend.
Ja, helemaal eens. En ook heel, heel intens. Hè? Dus die Troubles die je nog steeds ziet. Ik zat in een protestantse wijk waar je, toen ik daar zondagsmorgens rondliep, nog even een memory, hoe heet zo'n ding, een memorial aan de gang was. Een gedenkdienst. Ja. Allemaal vlaggen. En dan loop je door de muren heen, de peace walls. En dan zie je allemaal katholieke en Ierse vlaggen zie je daar hangen. Maar gek genoeg, we hebben nu, in de 98 had je de Goede Vrijdagakkoorden. Dus ze zitten daar nu, 27, 28 jaar in vrede. Er is nu een hele generatie die Troubles niet meer heeft meegemaakt. En ik hoorde van de jongeren die ik daar sprak, dat merk je nu wel heel erg. Dus hoewel er besef is dat er van alles aan de hand was, is er nu een nieuwe generatie die zegt, wij willen het eigenlijk anders. En dat merk je heel erg in die binnenstad. Een binnenstad overigens waar bijna niemand woont, omdat het ten tijde van de Troubles niet mocht, want Daarmee was de binnenstad nog van iedereen. En de binnenstad dus waar iedereen naartoe gaat om elkaar te ontmoeten, om te werken, om te feesten. En ontmoeten en feesten, Dennis, dat kan daar als geen ander.
Dat kan daar absoluut als geen ander. Ik vond het trouwens wel over historisch perspectief gezet. Je zegt over een nieuwe generatie. Het is wel een van de weinige steden waar nog echt een muur staat. Want we hebben het allemaal de muur van Berlijn, de Piezels. Maar die ook nog letterlijk in gebruik zijn. Er zijn er een aantal, die gaan gewoon om 6 uur 's avonds nog steeds dicht.
11 meter hoog ook gewoon.
Ja, anders konden ze er dingen overheen gooien. Ja, als er Olympische Spelen met hooggooien waren, dan waren de Noord-Ieren die wonnen wel.
Zeker. En inderdaad, wat je zegt, elke avond dan gaan de poorten gewoon dicht.
Ja, dus maar de andere kant, kom je in de binnenstad, vol met prachtige pubs, met veel gezelligheid. Waar de jongere generatie absoluut goed kan feesten. En je ziet daar ook het historische besef in die hele oude pubs waar elke avond wel muziek wordt gespeeld. En heel veel jongeren die daar gezellig uitgaan. Ja, ik vond het echt een fantastische...
En één ding, heb het daar niet over Noord-Ierland.
Nee, je hebt het over Ierland.
Ze hebben het over Ierland en ze zijn allemaal Iers.
Ja, dat sowieso. Maar ja, we zijn geen historische podcast. Alleen,
we zijn Drop or Dram.
Ja, we zijn historie gaan we daar wel natuurlijk in meenemen. Want we zijn een whisky podcast.
Ja, zeker.
We zijn niet zomaar een podcast, we zijn de whisky podcast.
Ja, dus wij weten alles van whisky en ook van Ierse whisky.
En die liefde hebben we. En we weten ook dat er een prachtige distillerij weer opgebouwd is. Die vroeger ook bestaan heeft. De Iconische distillery.
Ja, in de oude gevangenis daar.
Absoluut.
Fantastisch om te bezoeken.
Fantastisch om te bezoeken en natuurlijk heerlijk om te drinken. Maar als we het over historisch besef hebben, dan staat Belfast ook nog bekend om wat andere dingen. En dan hebben we ook nog een andere whisky-distillerij, daar zo inmiddels. En ja, daar moeten we het eigenlijk even over hebben. En
genoemd naar een van de bekendste exportproducten.
En een van de allerbekendste exportproducten. En aan de andere kant is het denk ik ook een van de meest controversiële exportproducten.
Ja, het was ook niet een heel lang leven beschoren.
Nee, dat is het. Want we gaan het hebben over Titanic whisky.
Ja, want kom je in Ierland, dan hoor je Titanic. Omdat er een heleboel Ieren met de Titanic naar Amerika wilden. Maar de Titanic is gebouwd in Belfast.
Ja, gebouwd in Belfast in de docks. En het dok waar die gebouwd is, daar kan je nog steeds bezoeken. En er zit ook nog een prachtig museum bij. De Titanic Experience, absoluut aan te raden.
Ja.
En
we willen op zich niet spoileren. Hè? Er is ook een film van gemaakt,
ja,
maar hij zingt.
Ja, dat is het enige. Maar zoals de mensen uit Belfast zeiden van it was okay when it left here.
Ja.
Dus dat vond ik eigenlijk wel mooi. En ik kan ook t-shirtjes kopen van Built by Irishmen, Sunk by an Englishman. Die vond ik ook wel. Maar ze zijn er vooral trots op wat ze gebouwd hebben. Ze zeggen, ja, wij hebben hem hier gesloopt, dus succes ermee. Maar een van die plekken die is het dok waar hij eigenlijk afgebouwd is. Want hij is eerst op een dok gebouwd, toen is hij verplaatst naar een ander dok. Dat leer je alles over als je daar bent, want het was een gigantisch schip. En dat is de Thompson Dock. En,
dat is een droogdok, hè?
Een droogdok. En daar staat, soms is die ook nat. En dan moet dat water eruit gepompt worden. En dan staat dat gebouw, dat historische gebouwtje staat er nog. De Pump House, om het maar even zo te zeggen. En die Pump House, ja, dat is wel iets heel bijzonders. Want daar staan de grote pompen die dat water moeten weghalen om een droogdok te creëren. Nou ja, dat doen ze daar niet meer. Ze bouwen daar trouwens nog wel wat schepen. Maar ze hebben daar wat anders neergezet. En daar verwijzen we natuurlijk naar.
Ja, en het leuke is, zeg maar, we waren nogmaals dagen na elkaar in Belfast. Ik was daar om mijn zoon te bezoeken en ik heb een mooi bezoekje nog aan McConnell's gebracht. Jij was daar voor onder andere de podcast en jij bent naar Titanic gegaan. Die waren niet open op de dag dat ik er was, dus ik heb je daar alleen achter moeten laten. Maar Dennis, jij hebt daar niet alleen de distillerij bezocht. Je hebt daar hele mooie avonturen beleefd. En je hebt er onder andere gesproken met Damien Rafferty, de head distiller.
Ja, ik had ze benaderd en ik was uitgenodigd. Dus ik neem jullie gewoon eigenlijk even kort mee op een reisje langs historische plekjes. En dan kom ik uiteindelijk in de Titanic Distillery, waar ik goed ontvangen ben. Wat een ongelooflijk leuke plek is, want het is echt een hele bijzondere plek waar ze hem gebouwd hebben, maar de manier waarop ze hem gebouwd hebben. En daar werd ik door de brand ambassador tegenwoordig en de head distiller ontvangen. En toen hebben we even zitten keuvelen over van, wat doen jullie eigenlijk? En wat maak je? En noem het maar op. En daarna ook nog, natuurlijk het een en ander mogen proeven.
Ja, en dat proeven, dat maakte de uitzending zo lang. Daar maken we een extra uitzending van. Maar laten we eventjes teruggaan naar het moment dat jij daar die pumphouse binnenliep.
Ja, ik neem jullie even mee. Ik liep vanuit de Belfast City Center met aan de achterkant in mijn rug de grote beroemde klok die daar staat. En dan loop je over de brug en dan loop je langs de docks. En dan kom je als eerste langs het zusterschip van de White Lines. De originele, stoommaatschappij waar Titanic was. En daar ligt nog steeds een zusterschip van Titanic die daar ook gebouwd is. Als je daar dan langs loopt, dan kom je op een plek aan en dan staat de Titanic Experience. Een prachtig museum. Je loopt verder. Langzaam kom je steeds verder. Links, rechts, grote kranen. Ik zie ze nog steeds hoor. De beroemde shipyards kranen staan er nog steeds. Een van de oude docks is nu omgebouwd tot tv-studio zelfs. Ik zeg Game of Thrones is een groot gedeelte daar opgenomen. En dat was echt wel heel bijzonder. Maar dan loop je verder. Je loopt eigenlijk de haven in. Je ziet aan de linkerkant zie ik op dit moment eigenlijk gewoon de ferries die weer naar Schotland gaan. Want Schotland ligt eigenlijk maar een half uurtje varen aan de overkant. En dan loop je verder. En je ziet gewoon overal oude historische scheepyard. Het is fantastisch. En aan het eind ligt nog 1 droogdok. Met een prachtig oud gebouwtje. Klokje erbovenop. Waarvan je eigenlijk iets hebt van, wat is dit? Het ziet eruit als een soort kerkje. En dan kom je er in één keer achter. Dit is de plek waar Titanic Distillery is gebouwd. Heel raar. Zo aan het water. Helemaal aan het eind. Aan de kade op een dok. Het laatste gebouw wat je maar tegenkomt. Industrieel. Kan bijna niet. Maar met een kloktorentje. Waarvan je denkt van, wat zou dit zijn? Nou, je loopt naar binnen. En dan sta je gelijk in een ruimte. Met een klein gezellig koffiebartje. Heel industrieel. Klein mini-shopje. En achter 2 grote houten deuren zie je al links en rechts een paar koperen ketels zweven. En ik noem het met name zweven. Want ja, dat is het wat de Titanic Distillery nog specialer maakt.
Nou, wij gaan hierna luisteren naar het interview dat Dennis had. En de zaken die hij daarna mocht proeven als een soort zwevende proever.
Dit is Drop or Dram. Very, very privileged to be in the Titanic Distillery on a very historical place in Titanic quarters. Titanic, we make only one reference to Titanic, and that's because of the docks. We're next to it, and this is the old pump house that used to drain the docks where actually the Titanic was built. But now we're not talking about any water anymore, only the water that we're going to distill, and that's it. And I'm joined by David Robertson, brand ambassador for Titanic Distilleries, and David Rafferty, head distiller of Titanic. Guys, welcome. Thank you so much for having me here live in the distillery. And as you can see, it's a little bit noisy, but it's a working distillery. And I don't hope I take you too long of work because you're actually distilling at the moment.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we're working distillery, and as you've seen earlier on, the trials and tribulations of being in a distillery when it's working, nothing ever goes to plan. Well, it does most of the time, but just not today. But yes, stills are running, or we're running this morning, and we're still mashing at the moment. Yeah, it's lovely. It makes for a nice smell in there.
It's absolutely lovely, and we've got some beautiful glasses already here, but we'll take that on to the next one. We do the tasting. Yeah, guys, take us a little bit for a lot of people won't say Titanic whisky distillery. Never heard of it, but actually we're right in the middle of Belfast, well, on the outskirts of Belfast, right in the harbor, more or less. But you were the first distillery again, or producing whiskey for 90 years in Belfast, and Belfast was huge in the back in the days producing Irish whiskey. So new kid on the block, and on the other hand, no. But let's take it. Why this building, guys? This is amazing.
Yeah, this is absolutely the best brand home we could ever think of for Titanic whiskey. Like you said, it's the old pump house, so built in 1907, so it's just dripping with history, and it's a heritage monument. So therefore, what you see today, we just merely added a few pieces to it, mainly stills and washbacks, but it's still the original building from 1907.
Yeah, and if you take up this building, and we are walking through the building here, it is amazing, because it's not just, like you say, we put a few stills in there, a few washbacks, and all we need to build a distillery. It's more than that, because the building is so high, and we'll post some, of course, some pictures of it on Instagram and everything. But you actually put a new floor in there, because this is how large is the building from top to bottom?
I'm not sure exactly how many meters it is, but it's roughly about 6 stories.
6 stories.
So
Yeah.
from ground level outside, you think maybe it's only 2 or 3, but there's nearly more below ground and above.
It's unbelievable. But how did it come to start a distillery here?
I think it's the significance of where we are, and for the owners of the company, it's very much about celebrating Belfast and the history, and what put this place on the map. Very much the industrial heritage and history of the city. Obviously, the dock workers that would work where we're actually sat right now, and that history that it's all about. And for me, I just think it's that ability to really celebrate what this place is. And we went before to how significant Belfast was on the map in terms of whiskey distillation, before obviously it's ceased to exist in Belfast during the Prohibition eras. And there is so much relevance here, there's so much history, and if you're going to really bring that back, then why not put it in such a significant place on the map, and I think we feel that history every single day when we're here. We know obviously the responsibility on the shoulders of being in this place, but we're very much excited to process that and see how we bring it into the modern day, and how we help build and re-establish what that history is in the modern day.
Yeah, it's more than just a celebration of whiskey, product we love all, but it's the significance of the building, the dock workers, the hands that built Belfast as it is for years and years and years. And we're talking back in the old days, 1500s, 1600s, the shipyards were here already that built the city. It's so important to be there. And now, yeah, a new whiskey distillery established 2023, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Whiskey coming up to stills in 2023, which we're getting close to that magic number now, Damien, right?
That's right. 404 days until we have mature stock. To me, per se.
Yeah.
Damien has his counter right in the distillery. You might have seen it today, and I love having a little look and seeing what that time is looking like.
Yeah, but it is a fascinating place. The historical pump house, literally now the distillery, and we've seen the 3 stills there in the mezzanine floors. Everything else very modern, stainless steel, washback stainless steel. Yeah,
that's it.
So the distiller, come on, yeah. As we are talking, he's got his phone in front of him. That's the modern days, and overseeing the process of distilling from remote, I guess.
That's it. That's the modern day distiller. We're like you said, I'm monitoring it on my phone here, just making sure everything's going as it should be. But yes, it's a fully automated distillery. Our capacity, a 1/2 ton mash tun, and then 2,500 litre wash still, 1,500 litre intermediate still, and 1,000 litre spirit still. So it's very neat and compact, but it's mighty. It's making some beautiful spirit, and I think it's maybe testament to the approach that we're taking here at Titanic.
Yeah, you're taking so much pride in what you make here with the history. And if I look back just over my shoulder, blood, sweat and years. And I love that phrase, because blood, sweat and tears, of course, from the dock workers, but the years we need for the spirit. And yeah, 90 years, you were the first to distill spirit in 90 years after Prohibition. Well, we know all about the rise and fall of Irish whiskey, and we're totally back. But coming back to you, because you're the head distiller at the moment, but you were actually coming from brewing background.
That's right, yes. Originally, I was a civil engineer, and I always had a passion for home brewing and craft beer and different things. And I was between engineering contracts and an opportunity to come out to start as a junior brewer in what is now the Pierce Lyons Brewery in Dundalk. So yeah, I started there as a junior brewer, literally sweeping the floors and getting my hands dirty and worked my way up to be the head brewer there. And then I was fortunate enough to start with Hinch Distillery. So I started there, and just around the time they started commissioning, and that's where I took my brewing skills and honed them for mashing for distillation, and learnt distillation off the guys there. And then Titanic approached me and asked if I'd be interested in this project, and it was an absolute yes. It's been a dream job really for me. I've been very fortunate that the directors of the company are pretty much giving me a free rein to do what I think is best for the spirit. And I'm taking that sort of brewer's approach while mashing and fermentation, and turn it into a fantastic spirit.
Yeah, because so for your hands-on, you decide what we're going to taste in the bottle sooner or later. Yeah, it's not like and here you got a recipe, you're head distiller, you're responsible, but it's more than that. You can actually, well, you're turning the knobs or on your phone, pushing the bottles. It depends on how you look at it, but it's really, the spirit is from your heart. It's from your point of view. It's yeah, it is. And I feel very fortunate that I'm in this position. So I suppose when it comes to creating whiskey, the distillation's only really 50% of the. If it's an exam, for example, it's 50% of the marks. The other 50 has to do with maturation. But of the 50% that I can control in the distillery, I want to make sure I'm getting, full marks. And how we sort of, our approach in the distillery is quality first rather than quantity. There's maybe distilleries out there that are, well, they probably do both, large quantities, but we're really focusing on the quality aspect. And we're quite proud of the fact that all of our malt, for example, comes from the island of Ireland. Our yeast comes from Ireland. So everything where we can comes from Ireland. There's no law to say it has to be from Ireland, but for it to be Irish whiskey, it might as well be. Plus I'm biased, I'm a farmer's son, so I think Irish crops are the best. Yeah, well, I can totally agree. If you're making Irish whiskey, why don't go all the way if you're there? Your expertise as a brewer, you were saying you're making the whiskey and learned the distilling at the Hinch Distillery, but turning the knobs, how does your brewing skills, like the fermentation, differs from any other type of spirit you would normally distill? Because the guys we were talking about the guys in the tour guides take long. You have, for example, a very long fermentation.
Yes, that's true.
Is that from the brewing experience?
So it partly is, yeah. With brewing, I suppose, for example, in a single malt distillery, you generally only have one recipe to follow, and that's it. Whereas in a brewery, you could potentially have 30 recipes. You're working with different ratios of water to grist and different types of malt, different types of yeast to have different outcomes. So it's constantly tweaking and changing recipes in a brewery. So I suppose I've taken that approach into our single malt, in that I want to make sure that we're getting the best flavour out of the barley that we're using, so that the wort that ends up in the wash back is top quality. And part of that is, time and temperature, but also paying attention to detail to our water. So I have it analysed regularly and analyse what minerals could we add to it to potentially enhance the flavour in the barley. So right down to the pH of the wort, is that optimal? Making sure that the enzymes in the malt are optimal. So I could talk here all day, really.
Yeah, that's getting too technical, and
Yeah.
people are getting thirsty. And I'm getting thirsty as well. So we'll go into some of the spirits you distilled here already, take it from there. But the distilled pro, how did you think about taking the distillation in different ways, and why is an Irish whiskey you're producing a premium Irish whiskey, you're producing also a pot still whiskey? You were talking about nothing more Irish than Irish barley, the water, everything from Ireland, but nothing more important than pot still Irish.
Yeah, of course. And I think the great thing to always speak about with pot still is the historical significance of it. And you're only going to get a pot still whiskey in Ireland. It's very, very true to nature, right, at the end of the day. And for me, one thing I really love about a pot still whiskey is that ability to taste everything that Damien was just speaking about, the distillation process, the raw material, and really getting to, what that process looks like. I think when you open up a bottle of pot still, you taste the distillery, you taste the raw material. And I just think for the pot still that we have, our 5-year pot still, we're aging that fully in first fill American oak barrels. And what we want to do is make sure that quality and that character just shoots through all the way, bottling out at 46% and just allowing people to really taste that essence of Ireland, if you will. And it's a really good testament to the portfolio, and to the ability to have that as something to showcase is wonderful for us.
Yeah, and happy enough to see a few glasses here, and we'll go deeper in it in part 2 of the episode. But at least, take one of and take us through. Take us through some of the whiskey. Premium one, which is your core expressions. What will you be? You have pot still, and you've got your premium blend.
Yep, so our premium Irish whiskey, our premium blends, as we would say. So essentially what we have here is a testament to, me and Damien can speak about blends for such a long time. We're big advocates for blended Scotch whiskey. I listen to Damien speak about distillation is just an incredible experience, and I could listen to him speak all day. And, distillation's a science, blending's an art form, realistically, and it's bringing all these wonderful elements together. In the case of our premium Irish whiskey, we have 72% grain makeup in the blends. We have 28% malt, and off that malt makeup, we have 15% of that as double distilled single malt Irish whiskey, aged for its full life in first fill American oak barrels. 10% of that is triple distilled, finished in ex-peated casks, and 3% is triple distilled, finished and aged in Oloroso sherry casks. So even down to the distillations that we have in our malts there, we're able to really pick everything apart and really sort of find some flavor. What we wanted to do was create a whiskey that had a bit of Belfast in every single bottle, so hence the peat expression that's in there. Now, for me, this really is that little nod to history, what we've spoke about before, the dock workers, the industrial history of the city, and being able to showcase that in the whiskey we produce, whiskey we're showcasing here. It's just lovely to do. It's that little point of difference, but it's that little skill set as well. So if we nose the whiskey, we're at 40% just here, and we can see that great, wonderful golden amber color to start. We have a little nose. We have that peat coming through, but it's more of that sort of barbecue smoke that we start to get. It's more of allowing those stone fruits, those orchard fruits, just a little bit of time on the barbecue maybe, and it just adds that little bit of personality. And then we just have a little sip. Sláinte.
Sláinte. Yeah, I already took a sip.
You did, way ahead of.
Of course, yeah. You were talking about it, like, I'm getting thirsty now. So, but it's really, really nice. It's I must say, we are constantly talking about the dock workers and the hard labor that has been all around it. But it's a very soft spirit, like the Irish and like the Irish people in a very nice, soft, but with a little rough edge. No, a little rough edge, but depends.
Damien's going to be a better place than I am to.
No, but it's this one is, like you said, it's an ex-peated cask, so you get those peated notes in there, but it's not very pungent. It's just warming, I guess.
Exactly that, and it's it's the peat is probably more prominent on the nose, I would say, than on the palate. But it allows individuals to mix with whiskey and enjoy it whichever way they want to. We're big advocates of your whiskey, your way. So if you want to enjoy the spirit neat, you want to enjoy it with a little bit of water and a highball and a cocktail, there are so many different routes you can take. And I guess, Damien, that's a testament to a blend, realistically, isn't it? Giving, that great canvas to paint on and allowing folk to do whatever they want to do with their whiskey is something that we really do stand for as a brand.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the purpose of the blend is to have that sort of versatility that it can attract every drinker out there, even the people who say they're non-whiskey drinkers. To have something that they can grab onto.
Yeah, and like I said, Damien, you opened 2023, so people go like, how can it be that you have already spirit? Guys, we told you before, Irish whiskey can be sourced, can be done if you have a great idea as a bonder with your recipe. Did you have a hand in what we're drinking right now as a Titanic Premium Irish whiskey? Is this also from your brain? I'm going to pick your brain anyway. It's just the orchard fruits, the peated casks, because it's your head distiller, but also head of maturation, I guess.
Unfortunately, I didn't have a hand on this one. This was already in market before, even the plans for the distillery were finalized. So, it was actually developed by Brian Watts of Great Northern Distillery, who sadly is no longer with us. So, he passed away before I could get a chance to really, pick his brains on that. But I think the brief that was given to him by the directors at the time was a Belfast style whiskey, and that's what Brian came back with. And I suppose I spent a bit of time ruminating on the different elements and broke them down as to the different parts of that whiskey that provide different flavors. And then it did really I really think it's a complex blend. And he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job, which is, it got me all quiet. I was just sipping again. Sorry.
Never bold.
If the podcast turns quiet, it's always we're drinking, guys. And it's just work. So no, but it's an amazing job, and it's got its own style. It's not your average Irish, and of course every whiskey has their own character, as we mean, and we have the pot still, but we'll come back into that later on, and tasting the range we have over here, because you also have some beautiful distillery exclusives every time, experimenting with a few things, but constantly distilling. So
the new make.
And you got the new make.
We have the new make. If you would like to have a little taste, Dennis, by all means. We speak about Damien and his expertise, but we have the proof right at the glasses in front of us. So we thought it might be something to bring along for the purpose of the podcast, and
that's
and
great.
see this all come to life.
So we were picking your brain, but this is actually your brain. In liquid form,
and the hard work, the blood, sweat, and the years there.
Yeah.
So that is literally just straight out of the still yesterday. So and it's strong. It's around 79.6.
79 plus 6.
Yeah. No, he's straight out.
You should have mentioned that earlier. Yeah. Ooh, it's so fruity.
Yeah. This morning we were filling our receivers with the spirit, and it filled the distillery with you described it as bananas there this morning, and we were getting a lot of pineapple flavors too. So there's a lot of tropical fruits on that. That would be down to, as we mentioned earlier on, the long fermentations and the types of yeast that we use. So we use a blend of brewer's yeast and distiller's yeast to really throw out some lovely flavors. The long fermentation, it's sitting roughly on average at 160 hours. So it really gives the wash a chance to really break down some flavour compounds, and when they come out of the still, they're amazing.
Oh, they are absolutely amazing. And said, are you also head of maturation? Because making a spirit is one thing, but putting it into the casks is another one. And we looked around in your pot stills, for example, what was it? 3-4 different kind of types of wood, the pot still?
That's just one. Yeah,
It's one.
yeah, it's just ex-bourbon. Yeah,
It's bourbon.
yeah. So
The blend is
And the blend is
the blend is 5 maturations. So two different maturations in the grain. So new charred oak barrels and first fill American oak barrels. And then, as we say, with the malt elements, we have our first fill barrels for the double distilled malt, the ex-peated cask, and the Oloroso sherry for the triple as well. So a nice 5 maturations. But with the pot still, we wanted to keep it quite classic, Damien. I think it's safe to say. But also, likewise, with the new make spirit we've just tried, that's in its initial stages going into first fill unwashed American oak barrels, Damien. Yep. And of course, we have our 401 club as well, where members can actually invest in the first 401 of those casks as well in that American oak. And for me, it's exciting.
The number 401. The number 401. Yeah, you mentioned it. It's on my glass.
Yes.
What is the number 401?
So that was the project's number of the Titanic itself. So before the name was christened, it was essentially Project 401, and all parts, Damien, I think I'm right in believing, would have been marked with 401 as well for that particular ship. So it's a nice little nod to that history, and as we said at the start of the show, the significance of where we are.
There is a reason why it's called Titanic Distillery next to, and we were saying we won't be talking about too much of the history of the Titanic. Everybody knows the history of the Titanic and too much water adding into your whiskey, more or less. But that's about it. But on the other hand, Titanic and the whiskey distillery, it celebrates Belfast. It celebrates more or less, should I say, reclaiming heritage, reclaiming what was Belfast once in the past.
Definitely, and also what Belfast is today. We pride ourselves on having that foothold, as we said before. But also, for example, in our distillery, we enjoy event nights where we have DJs come into this wonderful place and they fill it and they enjoy drinks with Titanic Distillers. They enjoy DJs, and we like being a cultural space as well. We partner with, we enjoy partnering with cultural significance in Belfast at the moment. So yes, what the city was, obviously what it went through. Even if you look towards our logo, you'll see 1911 on there. You'll see TD. It can be looked at as Titanic Distillers. It can be looked at as Thompson Dock, where we are. You can see the white star at the top as well, the 401. So those little nods to history are always going to be there. And for me, this is the joy of being the global brand ambassador for Titanic Distillers, is the fact that you can take that history, that significance, and obviously make that relevance to it. But again, the question is always, as it is with anyone who's doing this game, and Dennis, you know this yourself as well. It's about where do we take that history? How do we move it forward, and how do we make new history, if you will? And that's very much what we want to do here. And our significance and our association with Belfast is very much part of that story as well.
And Belfast is a great city on its own, absolutely wonderful. So with loads of history, but also modern times. It's moving forward. It's getting into new eras with the whiskey as well. But with everything, the clubs, the bars. If you've never been to Belfast, come. It's absolutely a wonderful place for a city trip, and you won't have any regrets. The only regret you might have, the open top tour bus in the rain, and especially don't sit in the back, guys.
Yeah, just get in cover. It's I guess, Damien, safe to say it's a bit of a turbulent weather sometimes here, isn't it?
It's turbulent weather.
Yeah, you can't forget your raincoat. But I'll say is today's rain is tomorrow's whiskey. So there's always that.
That's absolutely right. So yeah, guys, what should we cover more? It's absolutely amazing, and I'll talk to the guys when we did the tour, and I'll talk that into Dutch, because for Dutch listeners, it's my. You still have to work on your Dutch.
I need to work on my Dutch. Yeah. Well,
not only the swear words, all the other things as well.
Invite me over to the Netherlands, and myself and Damon will come over, and we'll obviously learn some more as well. But just to say as well, for listeners in the Netherlands and beyond as well into Europe, it's always a pleasure to be, over there and just, talking about Titanic Distillers, talking about whiskey, meeting individuals like yourself as well. And we know there's a huge crowd that's hungry for, for whiskey knowledge and, wanting to have these conversations, and hopefully, for me, it's all about, taking that, and whiskey is a conversation. At the end of the day, it's always an ongoing conversation. And for me, it's, where do we take that conversation moving forward? And just to let everybody know that, we welcome them to be part of that as well. So please, get in touch, and, hopefully we will see everybody over there in due course as well.
Yeah, like you said, if you can't make it to Belfast, we'll bring Belfast to you in forms of a bottle, and it's all the way around the Netherlands and Belgium available with many more spirits to come. But we're going to taste some stuff in part 2 of this episode, and thank you guys for inviting me into this absolutely amazing place. It is, and the joy of celebrating life and celebrating Belfast and your hard work, Damien.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah,
team
absolutely.
He's being coy. Yeah. No, it is. Again, like as Damien said, we have a fantastic team here as well. From our events to our tour guides who looked after yourselves as well. It really is a team effort. I couldn't have said it better, Damien. And it's a testament to what we stand for as a brand. Absolutely. This is hospitality on with a big H in there. It's absolutely amazing, and the stuff. Yeah, guys, what do you need to see? Whiskey is always a thing that it's made for your own pleasure, and it's not that you need it. Well, maybe 1 or 2 bottles, just keep it in your cupboard. Always good to have a couple.
Yeah, but it's all about that. So let's celebrate it, and I'll take you on a personal tour in Dutch through the distillery, like you have for me. So listeners, deel 2. Dan gaan we eventjes wat dieper in op de Titanic spirits die we hier ons voor hebben. En die misschien zelfs in de toekomst gaan komen. Want ja, er zijn natuurlijk wel distillery exclusives. Maar die mogen wij hier ook proeven. Dus deel 2 zometeen bij Titanic Distillery. Ja, Jan. Terug in onze keukentafelstudio vanuit Belfast. Waar ik een prachtig avontuur heb gehad. Maar ja, jij net zo hard een mooi avontuur hebt gehad. Het was geweldig. Gewoon helemaal zwevende vloeren, helemaal naar beneden kunnen lopen. Gewoon, als je hoogtevrees hebt, moet je hem niet bezoeken, deze distillery. Het klinkt heel raar, maar er zitten gewoon 2 van die grote roostervloeren in. En het is gewoon bijna 20 meter naar beneden. Je kijkt gewoon letterlijk naar 1 vloer lager en dan nog een vloer lager. Dat het gewoon, je loopt over gaas. Dat is tricky.
Nee, sorry. Maar dan heb ik misschien nog wel een leuke tip, Dennis. Als je met iemand gaat die inderdaad die hoogtevrees heeft, laat je die achter in de Bittles bar, de smalste bar van Dublin.
Nou ja, dat kan sowieso. En je kan natuurlijk ook een heerlijke drankje doen van de Titanic. Ja, het was een unieke experience. En de whisky ook net zo uniek. En ze hebben gewoon al eigen whisky. Want dat was wel weer leuk. En wat ik zo mooi vond, wat op die muren staat en wat ook echt wel iets typisch is, dat blood, sweat and years. Ja, dat vond ik wel iets leuks. Het mooi gebouw, prachtige whiskies en absoluut als je je hand eraan krijgt, ja, we gaan de grap niet maken. We gaan niet zeggen van geen water in mijn whisky, omdat Titanic daaraan gekoppeld is. Want het zijn echt 2 totaal losse dingen, denk ik.
Absoluut.
Maar ja, wij gaan aan dit keukentafelstudiootje nog even, denk ik, nagenieten.
Ja, en mocht je er thuis nou geen genoeg van krijgen, luister dan ook gewoon eventjes die extra uitzending waarin jij nog een hoop dingen met ons eventjes doorproeft. Voor nu was dit hem weer, Dennis. Wij zeggen weer dankjewel en tot de volgende keer.
Dag.
Dit was Drop or Dram. Vergeet niet om je te abonneren op onze podcast of kijk op onze website www.dropordram.nl. Tot de volgende keer.